Mal Fletcher joins me now, a futurist. Hello to you, Mal. Thank you so much for joining us. So what happens next with smartphones? It feels like everything's on there that could possibly be on there.
Good morning, Vic. Yeah, it does sound a bit like that, and it is such a short time that we've had them. So much has happened. But look, I think there are possibilities for augmented reality, which you may remember a few years ago made a big noise with Google Glass. The tech didn't really catch on, but it's sophisticated cameras in the corners of glasses that allow you to overlay images and text from the internet onto a real world image. So museums use them now for those walk-through commentaries they do. It didn't catch on with consumers because we were so in love with the apps on our phones. But I think we may still see augmented reality play a part in what I call sociable media, which is where you and I might, in virtual space, join with our virtual friends, our avatars in something like the metaverse, to have a virtual coffee. So it's sort of a three-dimensional version of social media in virtual space. So there's a lot to come, I think. There's 3D holographic images. We can talk about that. There's so many different things that might come down the pike.
No, 3D holographic images is quite scary, but also quite lovely. So you could, in theory, now FaceTime has become such a big thing over the last 3 years, hasn't it? And the way that WhatsApp video calls, whatever you're using. But in theory, you could speak to a 3D person right in front of you.
Yeah, it harks back to the old sci-fi Princess Leia in the original Star Wars, appearing in thin air with a pre-recorded message. But often what was sci-fi yesterday becomes real science today. So what we're seeing now is celebrities in the States receiving personalised holograms from friends at their birthday parties. Holograms have been used in France as part of the French presidential elections, where a politician wanted to speak to 10 different town hall meetings at once using holograms. But it's becoming cheaper and more accessible now. So we're likely to see holograms produced on everyday tools, perhaps like smartphones. So, yeah, we may be able to have a chat with someone on the other side of the world in a sort of a 3D version of a Zoom call. And it could be good for medicine too, having a 3D holographic call with your surgeon.
Oh, that would be quite cool as well. Now, in terms of the phones themselves, one thing, if you look at back in the 60s, things like shows like UFO and what have you, everything was all about getting smaller. Smartphones have got bigger. What do you think might happen? Are we going to get smaller, or are we going to carry on with great big massive slabs in our pockets?
I think it'll be like most things. A mixture. I mean, people still listen to CDs today and they listen to streams, but my adult kids love LPs and teenagers love LPs. So there's a mixture of both always when it comes to looking towards the future. One of the things that interests and concerns me a little bit is with consumer tech, the way it's engaging more and more with artificial intelligence. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist for this. I think it's got wonderful opportunities to offer us in terms of collaboration with technology. But, you know, there's a lot of talk about AI-driven chatbots like this ChatGPT, which people now gain access to via their phones. But what it is it's an aggregator of existing human-generated online data. So it's taking material that human beings have written, reconfiguring it, and giving it back in seconds in an essay form or something else. But it's nothing like a generally intelligent machine would be. And we do need, with all technology, internationally agreed ethical standards to guide us, because human implants will soon allow people, if they want it, to have something like a smartphone built in a chip, say behind their ear. The technology already basically exists but hasn't become consumer viable. So we have to then decide, do I want the line between human and machine to be further blurred than it already is today? So we need to set limits and keep it as a servant, not a master.
Keep it as a servant, not a master, is the best advice I think we could have.